Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello.
Today, we're getting into the work of Shirato Sanpei. Really powerful, often quite stark stuff from, well, a truly foundational figure in Japanese manga.
Absolutely, especially the kind of manga that digs deep into, history and social themes. Gekiga.
Exactly. And we've got a good set of materials for this. Timelines, character lists, briefings on two of his major works, Ninja Bugicho and Kamui Dan.
Yeah, really useful sources. Wikipedia entries, specific articles, quite a bit to work with.
So the mission today is to pull out the really important nuggets from all this. We want you to understand Shirato's background, the core ideas in these as well, massive series, and sort of his lasting legacy.
Why people call his work a masterpiece among masterpieces, or his life's work.
Right. Think of it as the essential guide. A shortcut, maybe?
Basically, yeah. Getting you straight to why he's such a big deal.
Okay then, let's unpack this. So, Shirato Sanpei, the person, who was he?
Well, the sources say he was born Noboru Okamoto back in 1932 in Tokyo.
And he passed away not too long ago, October 2021, age 89.
Yeah, from aspiration pneumonia. And there's that really sad detail. His younger brother, Tetsuji Okamoto.
Also an illustrator, worked with him at Akami Pro, right?
Mm-hmm. He passed away just 4 days later. It's quite striking.
Wow. That really suggests a close bond, doesn't it?
It really does. And you can kind of see the roots of Shirato's later work in his family. His father was a proletarian painter.
Ah, focusing on working class life and struggles.
Exactly. That connection to social issues, it feels like it must have influenced him. It just seems too clear in the manga later on.
Makes sense. And before manga, he was doing Kamishibai, those paper plays.
Yeah, under a couple of different names, like Noboru and Shin Kurokawa. He started using Sanpei around 1955.
And the name itself came from someone he knew, a military guy.
Apparently, yeah. Gojiro Shirato from his middle school. An interesting little detail.
So the move to manga came in the late 50s.
Right, and he was definitely influenced by, well, the giant Tezuka Osamu, but he also moved towards that Gekiga style.
More graphic, serious, aimed at adults.
Yeah, that whole movement. And interestingly, he even worked as an assistant for a shojoma artist for a bit.
Huh, Kazuma Maki. That's quite a contrast to where he ended up.
Isn't it? Now here's something really interesting from the sources, context-wise.
Okay.
He tried to join the Japanese Communist Party in 1956.
Oh, really? Was he successful?
Nope, didn't get in. But, and this is key, while Shirato himself apparently said he wasn't consciously trying to push like Marxist or historical materialist ideas.
You can't help but see them, right?
Exactly. The themes of class conflict, power structures, they're just so central. His work basically became this major focus for people analyzing manga through that kind of critical lens.
So it actually helped spark manga criticism as a field.
It really did. It prompted serious intellectual discussion about the medium.
And another thing that made his ninja stuff stand out.
Yeah, the attempt at rational explanations.
Right. Trying to ground the ninja techniques, make them seem scientifically plausible, almost, not just magic powers.
Which was pretty different for the time, wasn't it? A lot of ninja stories were way more fantastical.
Definitely. Okay, let's pivot to the first big one. Ninja Bugicho, Kagamaru Den.
Right. Published 59 to 62. Massive rental manga, 17 volumes.
And often called a masterpiece among masterpieces. High praise.
It is. And it's set deep in the Sengoku period, that era of intense civil war in Japan.
Specifically, Iroku to Tensho era, so post-Hanaji incident when Oda Nobunaga died.
Yeah, right in the thick of that chaos. And it uses that backdrop to really explore the brutal divide between the rulers and the ruled.
Absolutely. That class conflict is right at the heart of it, isn't it? Daimyo, samurai, powerful monks on one side.
And then the farmers, the local samurai, everyone else on the other.
And the series really focuses on peasant uprisings, Juchi Iki, these desperate attempts to fight back.
And Kagamaru, the main ninja character, he's not just a fighter, he's like this almost mythical leader figure for these uprisings.
Working from the shadows, trying to tear down the power structures, cooperating with the Hikakiki rebels too.
And his seeming immortality, that comes from a clever idea, doesn't it?
Yeah, the sources mention his shadow clan, the Kaji Ichizoku.
Body doubles, basically. 7 ninjas, each with unique skills, acting as stand-ins for Kagamaru.
Right. It makes Kagamaru feel more like a symbol or an idea than just one guy.
Exactly. And some of those clan members had really specific kind of weird abilities mentioned, like Zutroku using turtles.
Or Kusar having badger-like abilities and a skunk-like smell. It shows this kind of diverse skill set within the group.
Beyond just the big battles, though, there are these personal stories, like Jutaro Yuki.
The young lord's son seeking revenge.
Yeah, revenge against Shuzen Sakagami, the guy who took his castle. He becomes this amazing swordsman, but...
He gets used, right, manipulated by those in power because of his quest.
Exactly. Shirato shows how personal drives can be exploited.
And the morality is just messy, really complex.
Take Muyu Dujin, Kajimaru's master.
The mysterious monk.
Yeah, believes swordsmanship is merely a method of killing people. Super deadly.
But he uses those skills to help the poor. It's that ends justify the means idea.
Pretty much. He'll do anything, apparently even target his own student, Kagemaru, if it serves his goals. It's really ambiguous.
And the art style itself. The sources mention it being sharp, rough.
Unflinching, yeah. The violence isn't pretty. Bodily harm is shown directly.
Like Jutaro losing his forearm fighting Hodorubi. That's a detail that sticks with you. It shows the real cost.
And even main characters aren't safe. Akemi, Kagemaru's sister.
Jutaro's love interest, she has that Kishu quality, that sort of intuition.
Right. But even that doesn't save her. Her murder is brutal, highlighting how vulnerable everyone is.
And the main antagonist, Shuzen Sakagami, who Jutaro wants revenge on.
He's not just a local villain. He becomes Akechi Mitsuhide's body double.
Whoa, so tying his personal ambition into that huge historical event, the betrayal of Nobunaga.
Exactly. And then there's Hokurubi, Shuzen's sister. A skilled ninja herself.
She lost her arm to Kajimaru, developed feelings for Jutaro.
And ultimately sacrifices herself, trying to destroy the Shadow Clan.
Yeah.
Just layers of tragedy and conflict.
The series definitely made waves outside of manga, too. That 1967 Oshima film.
Megisa Oshima, yeah.
Yeah.
Really famous for using stills directly from the manga panels.
Which is such a bold experimental choice. It really speaks to the power of Shirato's art.
Totally. And there was that pilot anime that got shelved.
Right, apparently Shirato refused it, didn't like it.
Yeah, and that led to the creation of a different anime instead.
Minpu Kamui Gaiden.
Which brings us neatly to the second huge work.
Kamui Den, often called his life's work, his magnum opus.
And it's just vast. Part 1 ran in Garo from 64 to 71.
And Part 2, much later, in Big Comic, 88 to 2000, and the collection finished it in 2006.
Over 15 million copies sold. It's massive.
And where Ninja Bugaicho was Sengoku Chaos, Kamui Den is the Edo period, seemingly more ordered, but...
just as brutal in its own way, especially with that rigid class system.
Yeah, the sources really stress how it's told from all these different perspectives, across the social ladder.
Giving you this incredibly broad view of that society.
And it uses some fictional elements to make its points sharper, right? Like attributing inventions or simplifying the outcast groups.
Yes, simplifying Ada and Hinin into just Hinin in the story helps focus the narrative on that core discrimination.
And that discrimination, the social hierarchy, is absolutely central, especially for the Hinin outcasts.
Their struggle for just basic survival, for dignity, for any kind of freedom, it's relentless.
So that search for freedom and equality becomes a huge driving force. You see it with the younger Kamui initially.
From the lowest Hinin class, just wanting out.
But really, in Part 1, it feels like Shuso becomes the heart of that struggle.
The farmer character.
Yeah.
He's incredibly diligent, smart, compassionate, marries Kamui's sister.
And he works tirelessly, not just for farmers, but trying to improve things for the Hinin too. Aiming for a more equal world through, like, practical means, economic changes, social efforts.
And then you see the other side, the corrupting influence of power.
Oh, yeah. Characters like Gundayu Tachibana, the domain inspector.
Ruthless, manipulative, just purely ambitious.
And even the Lord Danjo Hyoki. He's incompetent, but he's safe because he knows a secret about Tokugawa Ieyasu's birth.
Right. It shows how status and secrets, not merit, keep people in power.
Then there's the main protagonist, the older Kamui. His path to freedom is different.
His path is strength. He believes becoming the ultimate ninja is the only way.
But the story explores strength in different ways, doesn't it? Not just fighting skill.
Definitely. There's intellectual strength, like Shusie's, emotional resilience, the strength of community. It's nuanced.
And again, complex characters, moral ambiguity all over the place.
Even the quote-unquote heroes, the older Kamui, Shusuke, they face impossible choices.
And Akame, Kamui's ninja master, he's described as this monstrous ninja, almost superhumanly skilled.
But he becomes a nuke nin, a rogue ninja. Why? Because he can't be completely ruthless.
He struggles with the morality of his orders.
Exactly. He's too good to be caught, so he lives in disguise, working as a clerk named Ichi. He can't fully commit to the brutality required.
Kamui Den is also famous for its incredible detail, right? Showing Edo period life.
Oh, totally. Daily life, customs, struggles across all the classes. It's incredibly rich, historically immersive.
Gives you the human experience within that structure.
And because it ran for so long, decades apart for the two main parts.
People have analyzed if Shirato's perspective changed over time, maybe on those Marxist interpretations.
Yeah, the sources mention that possibility, reflecting how views on those ideas might have evolved between the 60s and the 80s, 90s.
It's such a huge cast, but let's just recap a few key players.
Okay, you have the younger Kamui, the initial spark, whose tragic fate kicks things off.
Then the main focus shifts to his twin, the older Kamui. Calm, collected, the genius ninja seeking freedom through strength, sometimes disguised as Hayato Kagami, the swordsman.
Then Shusuke, the farmer, central to the struggle for equality on the ground.
Ryunosuke Kisaka, the former samurai forced down into the Hinin world, learning its contradictions.
Gundeja Tachibana, the manipulative inspector, always scheming.
Jidei Misumi, the more pragmatic castle elder, who respects hierarchy but sees Shusi's potential.
Akame, the conflicted master ninja, living as Ichi.
And his partnership with Yumeya Shichibei, the merchant.
Right. Yumeya uses money, capital, to challenge the class system. Their private relationship, calling each other Shichi-san and Ichi-san, is fascinating. Shows alliances outside the norm.
And even within the Hinin, there's complexity. Yulome, the Hinin leader, becomes Gundea's pawn.
Shows how power dynamics work even among the oppressed. And his daughter, Seisa, becomes a ninja, tangled up with Kamui.
Plus characters like Kushiro, the fisherman wary of merchants.
Believing money corrupts people.
And Kiku, Yumeya's adopted daughter, a hidden Christian facing that terrible choice with the Fumi.
All these figures add so much depth to the world and the themes.
And like Ninja Bugaicho, Kamui Den got adapted to. The Ninpu Kamui Gaiden anime in '69.
Which was pretty well known, yeah. Edited into a film later.
And that 2009 live-action movie, Kamui Gaiden.
Timed with Shirato's last published work, Kamui Gaiden. Saikai. Reunion. Kind of fitting.
So, pulling back, looking at his whole impact, Shirato Sanpei's legacy is just immense, isn't it?
Undeniably. He was a true pioneer of Gekiga. Showed manga could handle incredibly serious, complex themes. History, society, politics.
With a depth that was really groundbreaking at the time.
And his portrayals of class struggle, poverty, the harsh lives of the oppressed, they weren't just background. They were the point.
Giving voice to those often ignored, showing the real human cost of inequality.
Yeah, unflinchingly. And he also boosted other artists, right?
The sources mention Yoshiharu Tsuji specifically. Shirato gave him a platform in Guriro.
Which was crucial for Tsuji to develop his own important, often very personal work like Marsh.
So Shirato helped foster that more experimental, author-driven side of manga too.
He fundamentally pushed the boundaries. Showed manga could be novelistic, serious art. Not just kids' stuff. And
his art style evolution reflects that too, from the early, maybe more Tezuka-influenced work
to that sharp, serious Gekiga style of Ninja Bugaicho and Kamui Den. The look matched the tone.
So we've taken this journey through Shirato Sanpei's life and these two monumental works.
From his background, maybe influenced by his father's art,
to the consistent themes in his own epics. Class struggle, the search for freedom, the complex role of ninjas, the sheer brutality of survival in these rigid societies.
And his detailed approach rationalizing ninja tech. Deep dives into social structures. It really left a mark, elevated the whole medium.
So why should this matter to you, listening today? Well, these themes Shirato explored. Power dynamics, inequality, discrimination, the fight for dignity.
They aren't just history lessons about feudal Japan, are they?
Not at all. They resonate across time, across cultures. His stories force you to look at how societies work, who benefits, who gets left behind.
He used his art, really, to dissect those power structures and the lives lived in their shadows.
So maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Shirato used ninjas and historical drama to get at something very real about power. As you look around your own world today, what kinds of power structures are operating?
And what are the shadows now? Where are the unseen struggles happening that maybe we don't always notice?